What's going on, guys? What's going on, Tech Squad? What's going on, everybody? So, Derrick Rose will get his jersey retired by the Chicago Bulls um, on the 24th of January. And this is a good honor for Derrick Rose because without a doubt, Derrick Rose is a Hall of Famer. And I am going to say this. Injuries did derail, I think, Derrick Rose's career, and that is the hardest part, is when we see a player like a D Rose, like a John Wall, like a certain player. We kind of say, what if D Rose never got injured? Like the youngest MVP, um, the youngest MVP. Like he's ultimate going to be a Hall of Famer, no doubt. But we also know that most players that in the league basically don't make the Basketball Hall of Fame. But I do think that the NBA needs to give Derrick Rose a shot to be a Hall of Famer because the youngest MVP, and I don't think he should have not he if he was still playing right now. If he was still playing right now, I would say he would won a championship. Like you look at his Bulls days and you look at his Chicago Bulls days and you kind of say that Derrick Rose did have a a good career. Derrick Rose did have a good career, and now players are giving him his flowers. Now players are giving him his flowers, like he's getting his jersey retired. Like Michael Jordan is giving him his flowers. Um, LeBron James is giving him his flowers. D Wade, like all of these players are giving him his flowers where he deserves to have his flowers. And D Rose did give flowers to everybody that supported him. And I am going to say this: when people that support you honestly is supporting you, they will honestly have your back. Those that are really supporting you will have your back. And like I said before, it is kind of hard when we see a player like D Rose that hit easy money buckets, that was getting Jam City dunks, get injured, get injured as a Bull, and like really had Joakim Noah, had Carlos Boozer, and those Bulls teams were very tough to stop. If D Rose never got injured, I'm going to say this. If D Rose never got injured, I think he would have a championship right now. I definitely think D Rose right now would have a championship and go and say, okay, now that my jersey is going to be in the Raptors with Michael Jordan, with Scottie Pippen, with all of those players like Bob Love that played played as a Chicago Bull. I would also say this is that if D Rose won a championship, like D Rose deserves to get his flowers at the end of the day. Deserves to get the respect that he deserves. Because when we look at D Rose, we're going to say, when we look at LeBron James, when we look at Kevin Durant, when we look at Steph Curry, Reggie Miller, Iverson, Jordan, Magic, we're going to say at a end of a point that if D Rose never got injured at that point, like, what sense does it make for if D Rose never got injured? Because D Rose was a beast, in my opinion. When we look at how D Rose was one of the top 10 point guards in the NBA and one of the top point guards in the NBA and one of the top 10 point guards in the NBA. We could say that, but when we also look at how D Rose, how Derrick Rose was as a player, like he didn't want to get traded from Chicago. He didn't want to leave his hometown. Like his home team drafted D Rose. But when we look at D Rose's career, like he retired at 36, like he retired at 35. And when we look back at his career, like his last 2 seasons in New York, he and as a New York Knicks spent 3 seasons with the Knicks. Played 27 games with the Knicks. Went to Detroit for 2 seasons. Played 50 games his first season. Went to Minnesota and played 51 games in his first season with Minnesota, second season with Minnesota. He went to the Cavs, which, let me say this. That Cavs team with Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, Isaiah Thomas, LeBron James, Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith, that New York Knicks team, that Cavaliers team, I would say, like, he played 16 games with the Cavs. Like I think D Rose should have stayed. Like I don't get why you would trade D Rose to the Minnesota Timberwolves at that time, because the Minnesota Timberwolves had a young team. I think at that time, at that point, Kevin Garnett was still in the league, Andrew Wiggins was still there. I think at a point of time, like, we have to give respect where respect is due. But for D Rose to play 1 season with LeBron, if LeBron played in his prime with a D Rose that was also in his prime, I think those two would win a championship. I also think if you added Dwayne Wade, that is from Chicago, and you brought him in, D Rose would have a championship. I just think at this point, when injuries happened for D Rose, it was kind of not what we all affected, where we were going to see multiple guys in the NBA, that a guy like Derrick Rose that played over in six seasons of Derrick Rose's career in Chicago, like played over 70 over 107,000 games and finished his career with 17 4 points a game. Like, when we look at that and we say we should have said, okay, D Rose is the best point guard. Like, he was the youngest MVP at 22. We basically did not see what D Rose was doing at 22. If his prime was still going on, we would say at this point that D Rose would have had probably two championships. Would probably have two championships. But guys, sub if you're new and never give up your dreams. And I hope all of you guys are safe out there. And peace.